Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday morning, November 14th. It is very early here. I have been up since 3 o'clock this morning. I'm having a hard time getting my mind shut off. But I want to tell you what happened when I got home from work last night. But I need to give you a little background first. So most of you guys know that I moved into a new apartment in August. I have not shared everything that has been a struggle here just because I haven't been on here a lot and it's kind of a non-issue with you guys. I don't need any advice. I'm doing things my own way on this, but when I moved in, I was promised to have stainless steel appliances. They were supposed to have redone everything, which they pretty much have. But the three things, the dishwasher was obviously not brand new because there were stains in the bottom of it. The stove was not brand new, and the refrigerator had mold in the freezer when I first moved in. Some stuff did not, like the air conditioner wasn't working, but I think it was because I needed new batteries in the thermostat. So long story short on that is the office, the management over here are stupid and idiots, in my opinion. I don't know if they're so far in over their head in problems that they can't find their way out or what. But 3 weeks ago, I kept getting emails from a third-party research company. How was your this, and how was your this, and how was your this? And I ignored them for a long time until finally I was like, all right, I'm going to tell you how it was. And I let them know that I wasn't very happy about certain things. About 3 weeks later, I got an email from the office. Oh, we're so sorry, blah, And here's a direct line to our manager. And I sent this, and it was very short. I was not angry. I am not approaching this from anger and throwing temper tantrums because I'm pretty sure that's how most people handle things. So I am doing it very quietly on the down low, and not, I'm just letting them hang themselves, basically, is what's going on here. And they're doing a really good job of it. So 3 weeks or so ago, I sent a letter to this manager that I was supposed to have an open line of communication with. And the subject line said, who dropped the ball and how many times? And I'm like, I don't need to meet with you in person. But what should I assume at this point in time? And I said, should I assume that you are understaffed? Should I assume your people are undertrained? Should I assume that they don't get paid enough, so they just don't care and they don't take pride in their work? Or are they just lying and think they will never get caught? So I laid all of her excuses out right there in front of her. She can pick whichever one she wants to use. I've got their number, and they're all a bunch of dumbasses, in my opinion. So anyway, that got sent. I haven't heard from management, not a word. I'm like, surprise, surprise. But I have looked up the president of the company, so it is highly likely that they will be getting a letter sometime. I just haven't figured out how to go about it. Anyway, that's a little background of what's going on in the apartment here. Now I will tie that into what happened yesterday. So I get home from work and I have no water. And I had kind of been thinking for the last couple of months since I've been in there going, oh my God, I hope I never have an emergency, because if I ever have an emergency, I'm probably fucked. And so I come home, I have no water, and I'm kind of like, oh shit. So I called in on the emergency line at the office and left a message, and I'm like, I don't have any water. I don't have cold water. I don't have hot water. I have nothing. And I don't know if anybody else in the apartment is having that issue. But then I looked around and I've got all these bottles of water that I collect because I don't drink tap water. And I was like, I'll survive tonight. Worst case scenario is I still can wash my hair in the morning with bottled water if I have to. So I wasn't too stressed out because I was not completely without water. Another good reason to have bottled water at your house in case something like this happens. So I wait about an hour And I think it was probably about an hour, and I get a call from the apartment complex. Now, let me rewind a smidgen. The salesperson that I had was, we had one really, really good conversation, but the rest of the time he had his salesman hat on, and he was giving me the spiel all the time. And I was just kind of like, I'm like, I don't know if you're trying to sell me or what, but I just need you to tell me the truth. I'd already been led to this place by my guides. So I had higher up people sending me over here. He didn't have to sell me on this place. They were the ones that brought me over here. In that meditation, if you've ever heard me talk about that meditation. So I'm just over here checking things out, my people have sent me over here. So he's like hard on the schmooze. Ugh. And so my phone rings, and I'm like, he's on my shit list right now too, because he never ever bothered to call after I moved in. He got his commission, and then so be it, done with Jody. So I get a call, the phone rings, and it says his name, Gramercy, but I had logged that in to my phone that way at the office, not realizing that it was like one of the numbers and it could be anybody from the office. So I see it's somebody calling from the office about the water, I'm sure. And I didn't have my speaker on, so I didn't know who it was. And I'm like, I could hear somebody talking, and then I'm like, hang on. So I hit the speaker, and I'm like, I'm sorry, who is this? And it was the schmoozer. And he was not his normal friendly self, because I have a feeling he was waiting for me to jump his shit. But I did not. I was very kind of cold. I'm like, I'm not interested in talking to you. You pretty much lied to me about a lot of shit, or you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I don't want to have anything to do with any of the salespeople in the office. Right now, I don't even really want to talk to the manager, because she has totally not even doing anything. And I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to go over there and stomp and scream and make a big fit. That obviously doesn't do any good. And I'll tell you why. So anyway, he calls and he's like, they should be there in 30 minutes or whatever. And I'm like, that's fine. So we get off the phone with him, and then we get a knock at the door, and it's the maintenance, and he's like, check and see if your water's on. And it was, and me and the gal across the hall was at our doors at the same time. And I had not met her at all. I mean, my apartment is super quiet, and I always come in the back door. So it's not like I'm running into people all the time, and I'm gone at work all day long and kind of just mind my own business. So anyway, I finally got to meet the gal that lived across the hall, and her name is Susan. And what I find out is there is a condo from where I live to where I work. I pass it every day. I knew exactly where this was because I used to work in the condos north of there, but it burned back in the spring. Whole big building burned 5 o'clock in the morning, and it was on the news. They had that whole thing blocked off while they were trying to put that fire out. It took a day to get the fire out. And she had told me she lived in there, and that's how she ended up in here. And she was just kind of telling me that she hates the office people here too. And I was like, what have you had happen? And so she proceeds to kind of tell me different things and everything. And when she didn't have any water yesterday, she said she marched over to the office, and she's like, I told him I didn't have any water, and he just kind of looked at me and he, whatever, wasn't going to do anything, and didn't even, whatever. So anyway, I was like, who are you talking about? And she goes, Connor. And I started laughing, and she goes, he looks like a used car or he acts like a used car salesman. I have described him that way to other people that I've talked to him about. And I even walked in there one day, and he was starting to grow a mustache. And so he even was starting to look like the part, not just talk like the part. And if that's the part that he is playing in 3D right now, then that's his business, whatever he wants to do. But I could see from the get-go, he had a mask on, and I was just, I can't deal with somebody that's doing that. So anyway, I talked to her for a while and got to meet my neighbor. We exchanged phone numbers and everything. And so I have water now. I am very grateful that I didn't have to go without a shower this morning, because I was like I said, I'm not, she apparently will go over and she's very vocal. Doesn't seem to have helped with her. So like I said, I'm playing it a little cooler. I am most likely going to send some sort of a letter to the owner, president, because whatever they're doing here, they've got a lot of broken systems. They've got a lot of miscommunication and everything, which reminds me, I forgot something that she said. We were talking about that condo that burned. I said, well, how did it happen? And she said, we have a guy that lives up on the second floor, and she goes, he smokes, and I think he drinks, and we don't know, maybe he like dropped a cigarette, fell asleep, or whatever. He was the one that started the fire. And she said, a lot of the people in that building said, he's going to do something one of these days, and not in a good way. And I was like, see, you guys brought that to life by speaking it into action. It was just like you lit that whole conversation on fire. So that's such a good reason to watch how you speak your words into action, bad and good. So anyway, that's my story for today. I have been very, very busy. Again, I'm like having a hard time getting my mind shut off. So careful with your words, and make sure you have bottled water around in emergencies, and get to know your neighbors, because you might need them someday. That's it. I will talk to you later. Bye.